Today, we remember Red Hulk. Taken from us all too early by the release of Gorr the God Butcher. Gone, but never forgotten. You're always in our hearts.
Is it worth it?
What's going on, nerds? It's time to do the review thing. Let's go. Gorr is a 6 energy -1 power card that reads on reveal +2 power for each on reveal card in play. So my overall impressions of Gorr is, to me, he seems like the next Red Hulk, basically. A generically good power play that can go in a lot of decks, more than I think people are considering. Quick thought experiments. There are about 392 cards in the game. I could be off by a few. And there's 135 on reveals in the game. That means 34 technically, I think. 35% of the cards in Marvel Snap, or you will see in play, are going to be on reveals. There's 16 to 20 cards in play per game. So let's just go average here and say 18 cards per game are in play. 35% of 18 means Gorr is probably going to be around 13 power on average. And that's not taking into account the fact that you're going to be building your deck to make Gorr better. So I would assume on any given game that you play Gorr, he's probably going to be like 13, 15, usually more, honestly. But on the low end, I would say like 13 power. That's pretty good, pretty good. Next. All right, what are the good and the bad of Gorr the God Butcher? The first thing here, he's simple to use. I said it before, I'll say it here again. I'll probably keep saying it in the future, but simple is good. Decks that have simple strategies, whether they're linear or versatile, if something is simple, it's going to have more applications, it's going to pop up more, it's going to be easier to use. Second thing here, he's very versatile. For a simple card to be really versatile is kind of cool. But yeah, I think Gorr, you can expect to see Gorr more than you think. How can you expect to see something more than you would already expect it? I think you're going to see Gorr more than you might realize. That's a better way to put it. I'm smart. Yeah, but basically Gorr in like I said, 35% of the cards in the game are going to be on reveal, so of course 13 power with no deck building considerations. I think you can expect Gorr to be like a go-to finisher for a lot of decks. Just an average good card stack, maybe like a weird sort of bounce deck, in a Ravonna on reveal deck, Mr. Negative, those like small ball Thena decks that have been going around. Sure, why not? I think, yeah, Gorr's going to pop up, I would say more than Red Hulk, and you see Red Hulk quite a bit. But yeah, super versatile. Third thing here, power to cost ratio. This one's obvious, but basically, I think other than Red Hulk, Infinite doesn't really count because you have to jump through hoops. But like Red Hulk, Evolved Regular Hulk, cards you don't have to do anything for. You don't get much more power. Oh, Blob. You don't get much more power for the cost than you do with Gorr, especially with your deck building in consideration. All right, on to the bad. Utility. There's no utility on Gorr whatsoever, which, I mean, honestly, this is to be expected, because if there was utility on a card that averaged out to be like 13 power a game, you'd be like, what the hell? The most power you get on a utility 6-drop, Magneto, basically. Magneto does something that can win the game for you. It has utility, and he's 12 power. Like Elaheh has great utility, and it's 10 power. So if you put utility on a card like Red Hulk or Gorr or Blob, they would be stupid. So it's to be expected, but it is a downside. Second and third thing here, I'll just lump these together because they're similar. It depends on the game state. Like, one of the reasons why Red Hulk might be a better option for some decks than Gorr is that Red Hulk doesn't care about what the board looks like. Gorr, maybe you have bad draws, maybe the opponent's playing an ongoing deck. Something that's not in your control is going to determine Gorr's power. So that's definitely a downside. And the third thing here depends on the opponent's deck. Yes, there's 35% of the cards are on reveals, and I think on reveals are played way more than ongoings and the keywordless effect cards like Negasonic Teenage Warhead is an example. But the opponent, could, like I just said, be playing an ongoing deck, could be playing a deck that doesn't have a bunch of on reveals but has a bunch of triggers like Thena and Angela type stuff. So yeah, another thing that's out of your control is the opponent's deck. All right, moving on to an example deck list. This one is, so we saw this deck pop up like at the beginning of the Agent Venom season. it fell off because the versions where it was just like Claw and Iron Man ended up being better. But this was being played for a hot minute, and it was pretty good. But it just wasn't as good as those good cards like Thena type decks. But this is one of the places I'm going to try Gorr first to get a grasp on how like big he can actually get. All right, onto my recommendations on whether or not you should get Gorr. So as far as tokens go, I don't want to say it's a lock that Gorr will be worth 6k tokens. All the things I said in the upside downside, like maybe Gorr's a little too dependent on opponent's decks, the board state, stuff like that, to actually be better than something like Red Hulk or Blob. So if it's purely tokens, wait a day or two. Although if you're high on Gorr and you want to play like Mr. Negative decks with Gorr, or like a deck I just featured, then I don't think you're going to be upset spending 6k tokens on Gorr. I rarely say that, but he feels like a sure thing to be like just a decent card at the very minimum. But my actual advice is probably wait a day or two and see if he's a little overrated and I'm too high on him. Now, as far as keys go, this is super simple. If you don't have Legion or you don't have Havoc, go. Spend 4 keys, get Gorr, get Legion, get Havoc. All 3 of these cards are solid. I know Havoc isn't seeing a lot of play right now, but Legion is kind of like Gorr, where it's just like probably just going to be generically good forever. And Havoc, I think, is one of the most underrated cards in the game. Maybe the meta's not great for him right now, but Havoc is a solid card. I think if you spend 4 keys on these cards over here, somewhere, anyway, green screens, I don't know where things are. I think if you spend 4 keys on all 3 of these, you won't be disappointed in any way. All right, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Drink your milk, don't do drugs, and bye.